So um, I am the representative of the Climate Democracy Project and also a part-time director for IDEP as well. From my side, I'd like to talk about the recent developments of climate assemblies in Japan for about 10 minutes. Now, after myself, we will have Ms. Motoko Inada, director of IDEP, make a presentation, and she will be talking, she'll be making a presentation or report on a unique development in the Kanagawa Prefecture, where different types of climate assemblies have been held in several areas since 2021. And for me, I would like to talk about what's been happening in Japan, also touching upon the background and the history as well. Now, the climate assemblies so the climate assembly uses the methodology of mini publics, which uses random sampling to make a microcosm of society and applies it to the discussion for measures around climate change. Now, this mini publics, this has actually been in place for the last 50 years in North America and Europe. And in Japan, starting from the late 1990s, it has been applied in areas such as like the mini publics, that is, in areas to discuss about environmental issues and talk about measures there. So that's been taking place in Japan as well. Now, this slide gives a history of the mini publics application in Japan. So those who would be interested in science and technology policy, one method of many publics is what we call consensus conference. And in 1998, under the theme of gene therapy, the consensus conference has taken place. So this was, so to say, the first many publics in Japan. Now in the 2000s, so we call it a Shimin Togikai, which is something unique to Japan. It's a mini publics. So that has taken place from 2000 onwards, and from 2006, 2007. So the prefectural government of Hokkaido has been an official sponsor, and there's and a consensus conference was made under the theme of genetically modified crops, and actually it has been used to revise the prefecture's regulations there. And moving forward, so it'd be 2012. So that would be the year after the Fukushima nuclear power plant accident. And actually the Japanese central government, there was a mini publics where we'd be discussing about the environmental policies for people who have been randomly selected. Now, just going a little bit back in time, so in 2009 and 2015, there was a mini publics all around the world held simultaneously. And the discussion was reported, the results of the discussion was reported to the UN, what we call the worldwide view. And actually in Japan, in 2009, it was in Kyoto. In 2015, this worldwide view was held in Tokyo. And so in Japan. So the reason why we can actually see movements around climate assembly in Japan as well is because of the experience that we've had in the past quarter century. Now, with that background, so the movement of having or something like a climate assembly in Japan that movement started around 7 or 8 years ago. And as you can see here, so myself and Professor Emori-san, we talk about the application of mini publics to apply it to the very long-term risk issues. We decided to set up a research project. This was in 2017, and in 2018, so there's been a trend research on carbon neutral transition and climate assemblies in Europe. So this was from 2018. Now in 2020, so our group, so basically jointly organized with Sapporo City as part of designing Climate Citizens Assembly for Transition. This is a Kakenhi project, and 2021. And there will be a presentation on this about the decarbonization costs, Saki Citizens Assembly. And an IGES side, and as Mr. Takahashi has mentioned, IGES study and monthly research meetings on climate assemblies in Europe started from around 2021. And in 2022, so it'll be Musashino City in Tokyo Prefecture, and in Tokorozawa City of Saitama Prefecture, Saito will be talking about. We have had the first climate assembly where the administration would be officially hosting it. And for this fiscal year, the next week, from the holidays, we'll have Suginami Ward of Tokyo. There'll be and including Suginami Prefecture, there would be climate assemblies in 10 areas nationwide. And we have some sort of detailed sort of maps on what municipalities will actually that. And we have about 100 people participating today. And of the 15 areas, I think 13 or 14 climate assemblies. I think the people who be involved in those assemblies are participating today. So I hope you have time to have dialogue after that. Now, so when we look at the 15 climate citizens assemblies that we've had in the last 3 years, it's very diverse. You can see different organizers and diverse developments. So I've roughly put them in 3 buckets. One would be what I would call local government initiated or hosting by the local government. For example, the Tokorozawa City movement on zero carbon city. So basically, it's administration-led or the government-led, and the results are actually reflected in the policies for that municipality. The second type would be what I would call citizen-led and collaborative. So basically, there'd be the citizens group take a lead in organizing these assemblies in collaboration with other actors, and the results of the citizens initiatives would be reflected. And Atsugi Climate Citizen Assembly, there'd be a presentation, would be a typical of that. The third would be just naming as a research institution-led development. Basically, it's a new model of a climate citizen assembly, and it there will be a presentation on that. So Kanagawa Climate Assembly in Zushihayama, and also those in Tsukuba, which Tokuda-san will be presenting, which would be more like research institution-led and developmental. Now in Japan, so it's only been 3 to 4 years, but the reason why Japan has been able to utilize these climate assemblies is, of course, because of the efforts of those who have been participating, but I think it is a result of the accumulation of the experience and that the public, the administration, and researchers that experience over the last 2 decades have been able to be used. And it's very important that the municipalities' policies, regulations has been actually using that to reflect that. And I think it's very important that we see movements that it's going to be leveraged even further. Now, at the same time, one thing that we need to think about is, can citizens discuss with a sense of ownership what policies are needed to avoid things like greenhouse gas emissions, their lives and work, and create real policy and social impacts is something that would need to be seen. And also, talking about greenhouse gas emission policies. And so can the developments lead to expanding participation and deliberation in these climate and energy policy at the national level, and to make that or lead that to democratic innovation in Japanese society is something we would need to see as we move forward. Now, we have a whole day today in the morning. So we'd have Professor Elsab talk about the example in Europe or the UK, but we would now be listening to the examples in Japan, what we've been doing. And so we'll be sharing that with the presentations, and in the afternoon, we'll have a discussion session. And in the discussion, you'll be looking at we'd be doing case studies based on the presentation that was made. So what are the outcomes and results to date? And from that, what kind of issues and challenges have been identified? So we'd like you to talk about that, and based on that, and you can see at the bottom of the slide, so how to more meaningfully leverage climate assemblies in Japan. So that would be something that we would like to discuss as a group. So thank you very much. With that, floor to you, Ms. Inada. Thank you.